Guys, listen, I put it in our morning note today. All I wanted was something. If you want to be sellers, fine. You want to be like the Mets and say, you know what? We're not going to do it this year. We could add some pieces. We could get something that's going to make us contenders in the next couple of years. We're going to sell. We're going to sell. We may even back off our price a little bit on James Paxton, send him to the Dodgers. They were interested. Nope, nothing. Maybe you look at the clubhouse and Rafael Devers, who you just gave a huge contract to and who's begging you for some pitching so that all of the pressure isn't on the offense. Maybe you go out and get a Jack Flaherty. Nope, everybody, he went to the Orioles. Maybe you get a reliever. Maybe you get something. Anything. No, instead you're just like, yeah, you know what? We got Trevor Story and a couple of guys coming back. That'll be fine. Hee-haw. I hate this team, John Tomase.
Yeah, Trenni, I was thinking as I was driving in, could we rename this show for one day? I don't know if this name is taken. Could we call it Seinfeld? Because it's a show about nothing. Because that's what we're doing tonight. This is a segment about nothing. And I can't say I'm shocked. I'm certainly not shocked. But I thought there would at least be the Hansel Robles, the something, Austin Davis. It doesn't excite you, but at least it's something. I don't really understand how Chaim Bloom or any member of that front office, whoever, probably Eddie Romero is the sacrificial lamb on this trip, can look a player or a coach in the eye right now after what everyone else in the division did.
By the way, I'm so aggrieved by this that I forgot to tell you. You can vote in our poll on how you feel the Red Sox have done at this trade deadline. What grade would you give?
How do you give them an A?
Red Sox Trade Deadline. You can go to NBCSportsBoston.com/early edition. You can also scan that QR code that's right there on your screen. Scroll down and vote in the poll. Somebody, reveal yourselves. Not 8% of you have given them an A. But the overwhelming favorite coming out is 78%. How would you vote in that poll?
I think you got some funny people having some fun with it, going with the 10% on the A right there. I think that's where that's coming from. People are having a little fun with it.
A little funny smoke?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going full-fledged F. I think I'm probably in like the D category. I'm almost feeling like C because this is what I expected. Watching that game last night, that was one of the most disheartening losses they've had in a long time, right? It's the last game before the trade deadline. You got a tight game. And then in the bottom of the eighth inning, everything just fell apart the way that you kind of are afraid that this team can fall apart. The bullpen's not good enough because they're overtaxed. And it's like, who are these guys? You got the defense making bad plays. And you lose that game going to the deadline. I just had that feeling going to bed last night. I was like, they're not adding to this team. They're not going to do it. They're not going to add to this team. Colton Wong, apparently, there's the guy that they're interested in, so there's the name.
Colton Wong just got designated.
He's the one of the worst middle infielders in baseball right now. So
that'll help the defense.
There's a little buzz going on there.
Hitting 165 with a negative 1.3 WAR, which is very hard to do when you're not a full-time player. So that's who the Red Sox are interested in because he was just DFA'd. That's perfect for them. I mean, last night's game is a perfect example of could you have given them something over the last 2 weeks so Joe Jakes doesn't have to come in the eighth inning of a game where Nick Pivetta pitched his butt off and gets you into the eighth inning and you're going to a no-name reliever after an off day? It was the perfect lead-in to today's big bag of nothing.
And listen, I don't want to harp too much on last night's game, but I saw some people today as rumors were trickling out about what the Red Sox should target. Most people felt starting pitching, and they were saying, well, starting pitching hasn't been the issue the last couple of games. It's been the offense, untimely hitting. I think against San Francisco, they were 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Yeah, but as Rafael Devers pointed out, there's a lot of pressure, Giles, on that offense to create something when you know that your pitching staff really from top to bottom is a house of cards.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they picked a really bad 4 or 5 games to kind of slump here because, again, if they're winning these games and they're right there and they're tied in the wild card, because it's not like they've lost that much ground on this 4-game losing streak, right? I mean, they're still 2.5 games back. Just a really poorly timed slump here for this Red Sox offense to the point where I think that management could just look at it and say, well, we're 2.5 back. We're exactly
Counterpoint.
We're exactly where we were.
Counterpoint to that is you could have won these 4 games and they would have done the exact same thing. They have been laying the groundwork for this. If we had just been paying attention between Sam Kennedy 2 weeks ago, talking up with the guys who were coming back, to Alex Cora just yesterday on Sirius Radio, or maybe even today, talking about how, we have to get creative with our pitching staff, sounding resigned. They have been pointing exactly to this outcome for weeks now, and the last 4 games, maybe that's convenient cover, but wouldn't have changed a thing.
Well, you mentioned the guys that they are going to get back. Here is a Red Sox injury update. Here's some of the names, though they will get back, I guess, sooner than later. Starters, Garrett Whitlock, Tanner Hoke, each through bullpen sessions today. Chris Sale, he's going to begin his rehab assignment tonight, starting for AAA Worcester. Trevor Story, his rehab assignment with AAA Worcester continues. He is targeting a return this month. The Red Sox are also activating Reese McGuire. I believe it says either today or Wednesday, but I think they actually did, if I saw most recently, they did activate him for tonight's game.
Sweet. Reese
Seattle.
McGuire's back. I mean, who needs to make a trade when you can have him back? So this is what they're doing. Is
there anybody, though, and I look mostly at like a Trevor Story, a Garrett Whitlock, or a Tanner Hoke, because I just think Chris Sale is as fragile as a little like porcelain doll. Any of these guys make a difference and help you make up those 2.5 games?
I don't even want to answer that question because that's what the Red Sox want us to talk about. They want us to talk about the guys who are coming back, and that is garbage. Every team has injured players. I mean, the Yankees could have approached the deadline and say, we just got Aaron Judge back. That's our deadline acquisition. Do I think Trevor Story will help? I mean, if he can throw, if his elbow holds up, he hasn't played in more than a year. I would like to think, Trenni, to answer your question, that Story would be the biggest impact guy, but that is so irrelevant right now because today was about give your clubhouse, give your fans a reason to stick with this team, and you just stuck a pin in a balloon like you've done every trade deadline for the last 4 years.
But they're also going to sell it as this team was over 500 the way it's constituted. They're going to say, you know, we got a chance, and they're going to say that over the next 2 weeks, look at their schedule. You got 10 straight games at home when you're done with this road trip here. And then 3 of them are against Toronto, so you control a little bit your own destiny. And then you've got 10 games against awful teams, right? Just terrible teams. So I don't know if they're counting on the fact that, they're just going to win those games and continue to be in contention. They just want to be in contention, right? I guess my question is then, if you're not going to choose to add, why not choose to sell off some ancillary pieces, right? Like, why not do that? Like, why not even look at it and say, okay, do you need Alex Verdugo and Adam Duvall? Do you need both those outfielders? Like, why not sell off one of those guys and try to get something in return if you love prospects that much?
Well, and I hope we're going to hear from Chaim Bloom later in the show. He is expected to talk at 6:15. There were some rumors that Adam Duvall was on the trade block. There were rumors that at times Alex Verdugo was, and even James Paxton. I'm very interested to hear what Chaim Bloom has to say on why no offers they got for those guys were more than enough.